So I want to make your lives a little bit easier. Some of this is going to be kind of basic, but it's super helpful. Your actual instructors from all of the campuses went through this class the other day, and just little things to make that adjustment, especially for you guys, because I think you might pick up some bad habits from the internet. Probably, because you guys are like this. Oh, look what they're doing. No, listen to your instructors because they know what's up. And they agree with me on a lot of things that you guys will see later on tonight. So I just want to make your lives easier. First, we're going to start with some of the tools that I'll be using. So I'm actually on the GHD team, which is Good Hair Day. Any of you have those irons, blow dryers? They're pretty cool. I know you guys have your own kit for school. But I'm on that team. Out of 200 educators throughout the whole company, there's only 12 of us that they picked to be on that team. So I do really love styling. I do want to share some cool techniques with you guys. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to show you, you should pass along to your clients. Namely, this technique of parting. So I'm going to show you guys this. It's only 5 sections. And actually I use this sectioning a lot for my color work. Not necessarily for cutting, obviously that's a little bit more involved. But this is so that your clients, when they leave and you give them a beautiful style and color and cut, and try and recreate those looks by themselves, this is a clean parting for them that is not too complicated. They'll be able to do the back of their head and pull the brush forward. They'll be able to kind of wand or do the straightening really quickly so that only this is not taken care of, and then the rest you see them at the grocery store and it's like, I'm not making fun of anyone's family, but like super smooth in the front and then the back is like, hey, I gave up, right? Because that happens a lot, okay? You have to pass along the techniques that you learn so that they can represent you the best that they can, because they're your advertisement. Obviously we have Instagram, we have all of that kind of stuff, but I grew up in an age where like Instagram wasn't a thing and then it became a thing, so I'm like right in between where like I use both word of mouth and the internet to get clients and book work. So you guys have to make sure that when they're walking around, you give them the opportunities to take home really good products, understand how to use their tools. The worst thing that you can see as well is like this beautiful blonde. Again, there's nothing wrong with it, but what happens when they use their iron so many times on here? They get like those beautiful little broken pieces because you didn't show them how to use the iron correctly. Or they came in with this beautiful hair and the next time again, they came back with those broken pieces and they're like, you broke my hair, but their hair is like super straight and you know it's wavy, right? So they have to have some accountability too. So these are some really good sections for all those styles. Also, I want to go over how to use your blow dryer. So normally when you do your blow dries, is this what you start with? And do you guys do this? No. That's a no, and that's a no. So first, after you do your shampoo, you're going to take your nozzle off, and you're going to remove the moisture from the roots without the nozzle. Because when you have the nozzle on, it's concentrated. That's for styling, right? If I have this nozzle on and I'm trying to remove the moisture from the roots, then it's only really concentrating on one area, right? So then I have to like keep parting it and parting it. Usually that's the reason why clients don't usually ever use the nozzle, but we as stylists, we use the nozzle to smooth out. But that's for styling and smoothing, not for moisture removal. Does that make sense? So when you guys you've towel dried them, you go in. You're not going to do this parting to start. You'll get the moisture out first. You're going to use your fingers to open up channels. Can you guys all see that? So open up channels in the hair so you can get to the root. Comb them out really nice first so you're not ripping through their hair. Then you're going to turn your blow dryer on, and you're not going to do this. So I happen to be right-handed, but I blow dry apparently left-handed. So that means that the weight of the blow dryer is in my hands. I'm foiling. I'm cutting all with one hand. That's a lot of stress, right? So I need to make sure that I use my arm in a circular motion to remove the moisture. It sounds kind of silly, but you guys, those of you that are almost about to graduate and those of you that are already on the floor know how much stress we put on our bodies to get our work done. So if you can just make one adjustment now, it's really weird. I know. But this muscle is way bigger than this muscle. It's just a different movement, right? So you can knock off 5 to 10 minutes off your blow dry if you take the nozzle off and you do that circular motion while you're lifting those channels. Then in the back, you'll just shake down, and then you can kind of smooth out the ends before you start styling, okay? If you go from wet to dry with your nozzle, that's a good hour blow dry. It takes me about an hour and 15 minutes to do a haircut and a blow dry. Does that make sense? Time is money. So if I can take 15 minutes off of your blow dry, 15 minutes off of your haircut, that's another color that you can do, a single process, maybe a face oil, something like that, right? So work smarter, not harder. And then your tools are really important here. So I have mine all in a jar, but I'm going to put them, I'll just show you them. How about that? All right, so review. This is a ceramic, this is natural bristle. So natural bristle brushes are going to give you the smoothest end results just with the blow dry. So if I go in, hair against hair gives the most tension. You might be able to hear it. When I get in, it has more grip. Those of you in the front, like, she could be moving right now, right? So hair against hair gives you the most grip. It gives you more of a satin finish, if you will, like super smooth. And then ceramic slides through fairly easy. So that's going to be more of like a velvet finish. Okay, it doesn't give you as much tension, so you have to maybe work a little bit harder. You might put a little more tension on there when you're blow drying, but for the most part, you're always going to want a ceramic brush after really extensive color surfaces. Like, if I did a touch-up on either of them with their bleach and then did their fun color, I wouldn't want all this tension pulling at their scalp, right? I don't want to cause any breakage. But if they come in a couple weeks later and we're just doing a little touch-up on their haircut and they want a really smooth style or they want a little flip without any heat tools, because we know that creative colors, you don't want to hit too hard with that much heat after you style it with the blow dryer, this might be a better option. Maybe a smaller brush because the hair is a little bit shorter, but do you know what I mean? So always pick your tools correctly. It does really make a difference. Some people only use natural bristle brushes, that's fine. There is some that actually have like plastic in between, so it's not just natural. There's a little bit of less grip, that's okay. But when you're choosing your tools, choose something that you're comfortable with. If I'm working through the hair and it's like getting caught the whole time and it's uncomfortable for my client, they're not going to have a good experience. And I will tell you guys that I do live in San Francisco now, or outside of San Francisco, but I grew up in Florida. So the humidity levels are pretty similar to here. And how I built my clientele was through blow dries. Someone would call for a blow dry for an event. I would do their blow dry really quick, super smooth. It would last a couple days. Then they would call back again for maybe a haircut. Then after the haircut, they would come back for color. So if you can't do it with style, if it's reversed and they came in for color and they loved it, but you did a nasty blow dry, you can't show off what you did, right? Or if you did like a pretty good haircut, but their hair comes out like this, they won't know how good the haircut is, right? So your finished work is super important to the work that you do with your color and your cut. I also have a paddle brush, which you should always have. This is really good for removing moisture and smoothing really quickly. I see a lot of long hair here. I don't want to round brush all of that, right? I'll do that at the very end. I'll smooth it out, get all that moisture out, and make my life a little bit easier once again. And then we have a natural bristle brush, not for blow drying, but for actually what we call dressing the hair. So if I did one of the sets that I'm going to show you with my irons, I would go underneath and kind of comb out the curl really nice and gently, get those flyaways. If someone wants a really high ponytail, this feels good against the scalp. I can get in and smooth it out. Does that make sense? So I have 2 of these bags that I've collected over the years of all different kind of brushes. This is another brush that's really good for cutting and styling. So when you see something, try it. Also good for like really short, like bobs, because you don't want to really add too much volume, otherwise what happens? Their neck is here and then all of a sudden they have this big bubble because you used the round brush. You flat wrap so that you can hug their head and really accentuate their face, which is probably what they're asking for when they want that A-line, right? Does that make sense? So different tools for different things. You don't have to have 2 bags full of brushes. I have to travel a lot and do different kind of techniques with people, so obviously I collect as I'm going, but understand like when you see something, there's a reason for it.